Something I also found, which I did not want to admit for a long time, and I think, wow, even in really tough situations, and I found that everything has become a lot better because of it. Some people just like to get on with their day straight away. I don't. So this is what I do. Hello, my name is Aisling and this is my morning routine. I'm sharing this because it has really helped me down through the years and hopefully it can help you too. So I started implementing a morning routine when I was quite young, in my mid-teens, because I found it very hard to go to school. I was struggling with a lot of anxiety and kind of depressive symptoms. My routine back then was to run a kilometer every morning, so I found that exercise made me feel really good and it made me feel very confident. So that's how this kind of started off, and it's evolved since then. So I find that I'm very impressionable in the morning. How I spend my morning usually dictates how I go through the rest of my day, and that's just kind of always been how it is. So I like to spend time with myself before I bring my energy out into the world. I like to work on my state just so that my interactions go better. I feel a bit more confident and I feel better able to deal with anything that comes my way. So I understand how important and meaningful it can be, like how if you implement little routines like this every day, it can add up to a lot in the long run. And I know that it's not for everyone. I know that some people just like to get on with their day straight away. I don't. So this is what I do. So what I start off with is filling in my 5-minute journal. So it's like a gratitude journal. So you have to say 3 things you're grateful for, 3 things that'll make today great, and then you just say nice things about yourself, like affirmations at the end. And then there's a nighttime part as well. The reason I found this very helpful is that I used to struggle with spiraling into very negative thought loops, like only seeing the bad in every situation, beating myself up and that kind of thing. And I remember the first time that I heard about reframing, it's basically like picking out the positives from a situation, or choosing to find the best in every situation, or framing it in a way that isn't as negative. I thought that it just was dishonest, but I've found since then that gratitude has helped me a lot to reframe a lot of the situations in my life, and now I actively choose to be grateful a lot more, even in the scenarios where it's not typically expected of you to be grateful, like even in really tough situations. And I found that everything has become a lot better because of it. So I really like starting my day with gratitude, and it's nice because this spirals into how I help, say, my friends deal with certain situations, helps me to accept things a lot more and just find the best in everything, because most of the time your life is quite chaotic. You can't really control a lot of things in your life, but you can control how you see it. So that has really helped me. I've also discovered that you will usually not be happy when you achieve something that you've desired. It's not as if your whole mindset is going to flip once you get something that you want. It's usually you become happy first, and then when something comes along, you're more able to recognize how good it was and how you would have wished for that, say, a year ago, and now it's here. And now you think, wow, I'm incredibly grateful for this. So once you practice that muscle, like once the good things come along, you're just like doubly grateful for them. Something I also found, which I did not want to admit for a long time, if you're stuck in negative thought patterns about your situation and you're really labeling things as either good or bad, it's like you're not going to welcome in as many blessings as you would have if you choose to find the good in every situation. So there's always something to be grateful for. And if there doesn't seem to be many big things to be grateful for, focus on the very small things. Like if you have a roof over your head right now, you'd certainly notice if that was gone. And again, I don't do this perfectly, but I certainly do it a lot more than I did, and it has really helped a lot. So that's the first thing that I start my morning off with, just filling in that gratitude journal. So the second thing that I like to do after I do a little bit of gratitude journaling, which only takes about 5 minutes or so, so it's really quick. That's another thing with these things. I make sure that they don't take that long, because otherwise I wouldn't do them every day. So this next part is breath work and meditation. And this was prompted by a few things, but mainly when I was doing my yoga teacher training, they explained to us that in yoga, breath is seen as a source of energy, like life force. So they believe that there's 3 sources of energy: the sunlight, your food, and your breath. So it's very beneficial to start working on your breath first thing in the morning, because how you sit and how you breathe will influence how much energy you have, how you react to situations and stress, and just how clearly you can think, like how much clarity you have, which I've found is very true. I like to test these things out myself, and I've found that it's very effective. So breath work just primes me for everything else I do that day. It just gets me focused and calms down my nervous system and allows me to feel a bit more in my body instead of very scattered. So I do 3 rounds of Wim Hof breathing. I'm not going to try and explain it here right now. I'm sure there's lots of videos on it. And then I do a meditation, something to do with manifestation or positive affirmations, just to kind of reprogram my mind and just get it into like a good feeling state for the rest of the day. So I found those 2 are very powerful together. And again, actually, this is very important to mention. Most mornings I do not feel like doing these things. I feel very groggy when I wake up, but I know because it's just so kind of ingrained in me that I'm just gonna go and do it anyways. Try my best and see what happens, and I usually feel great after it. I usually feel very like calm and very relaxed and just very primed for anything else that happens that day. So the 3rd and final part of my morning routine is yoga. I'm a yoga teacher, so obviously I'm going to be a big advocate of yoga, but I'll tell you why I like it. So number 1, it helps me to get moving gradually in the morning. It's a very kind of slow, energizing movement practice where you're syncing your breath with your movement, so you're coming more into your body as well. And as you move, it helps to bring your mind into a place of more one-pointed focus. It's hard to explain unless you've done a yoga class or you practice yoga yourself. It also helps to calm what's known as the monkey mind. You can probably guess what it is by just the phrase. Kind of like when your mind just being pulled in all directions. I know that in the morning I don't wake up like happy, ecstatic. I'm actually quite moody in the mornings. So stuff like this really helps me to like get focused, get clear, and just kind of bring myself and ground myself into the present. It also helps me to appreciate my body because I'm using it. When you use your body, you kind of appreciate it more. It keeps me limber and it helps me to be more confident. So a lot of yoga is working on your posture, like standing up tall, getting moving, and that really helps influence your confidence as well. So when you're sitting up straight and when you're working on all the postures, you do feel a lot more confident. So by the end of it, you feel like loose, you feel very at ease, and you feel very strong as well. I do 10 rounds of sun salutations because one of the instructors on my yoga teacher training, it's probably the biggest thing that stuck with me out of everything, out of all the philosophy and like all this really deep, like really interesting stuff. He said that 10 rounds of sun salutations is the equivalent of having a cup of coffee, and it really is. It's really, really good for you. It's amazing, and I stick to it as much as I can, and it's good because you don't need equipment for it. You don't really need a mat even. Sometimes I just use the floor, or if I can find a space on the ground, like say if I'm traveling or anything, I will just whack them out. In my opinion, if you want to do things to help yourself, you have to take action. You can't just leave it to chance. And I feel very blessed that I found things that work for me, because I remember being in a place in the past where I was not confident, or I really struggled and I just wanted to stay at home. I was very sad and just my emotions always got the better of me. So I feel very grateful that I found things that work for me and just keep me very level and balanced. And again, as I said, these routines don't feel good every day, but they certainly help. A lot of days I feel very groggy, I have a lot of resistance to doing them, but it's the consistency that matters. So like if I'm used to doing these every single day, I'm more likely to do them in the long run. And I've probably kept this same routine for 2 years, but it always varies like down through the years. That's why I keep them short as well, because I'm more likely to do 10 minutes of yoga a day than 1 hour of yoga a day, because it's very time consuming. I just want something short that I can do before I have to do anything else that day. So like say if I go to the gym afterwards, or if I have to go to work or anything like that. And I'm just sharing them because they've really helped me. You don't have to necessarily take anything on board that I say, but maybe it's inspired some of you to make your own little routines and try things out, because these little things, I think, really do have compounding effects in the long run, and I'm way better off because of them. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.